bags, raise the flags. Hit them fast, secure the bag. Don't even blink, make them walk the plank. Light them up, let's make them sing. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. On Bucs, yeah, we on. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. The whole field's our red. Let me give you 55 reasons why this is our season. Palm trees breezing, opposing teams bleeding.
All right, welcome back to Buc What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buc What You Heard. You follow me, I will follow you back. And guess what? Get the whole gang together here. Shout out to my man KB. How you doing? Are you well now?
It's nice to be back, but I will say, with life in general, life's better when it's football season. So we just need it to be football season.
Heck yeah, all the time. And as usual, I'm not even going to call him a special guest anymore. He's a permanent fixture here. My man, Michael Pless from Real Bucs Talk. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. It is great to be back on. It's great to be talking Buccaneers football as always. And like Ken said, life is always better when it's football season. And with that said, we're only a couple of weeks away from training camp. Very excited and just excited about this season. I mean, what a time to be a Buccaneers fan right now. I mean, you got to love it. And this team is poised to win another championship. And you talk about that and you think about, 10 years ago, we couldn't even discuss this. And, it's pretty awesome to be in the position where we are.
Yeah, the cupboard was bare. I mean, offensive line, defensive line. You had cornerbacks playing 15, 20 yards off the ball and coaches making calls that you're just like scratching your heads about, and it's wild. I'm glad we're here. And if I could stress this, I'm going to continue to stress this right up to kickoff is enjoy the ride. I mean, you've got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all times, and he's under center here in Tampa. Let's enjoy this. Let's enjoy this season. For me personally, and I do want to go around the room here, but personally, I would like for Jason Light to be proven right again with his draft picks, with the moves that he's made. I would like to see this team really do good and get to the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, just because I believe in what Light has done. And there are so many naysayers out there, and I just want them to finally be silenced. But Mike, your thoughts?
No, I agree with you as far as Jason Light goes. I mean, he's done a hell of a job, over the last, I think ever since Bruce Arians came in, I think it's just been a better process. It's been a better understanding of, who to add and who to get. And there's no miscommunications anymore. Everyone's on the same page. There's a common goal. There's a common cause. And obviously that's win a championship. And then getting the big piece of the puzzle, Tom Brady, bringing him in, changing the culture, adding Tristan Wirfs and Antoine Winfield, and the list goes on and on of adding key guys. And even this offseason, adding veterans like a Logan Ryan and a Shaq Mason and Keanu Neal, et cetera, Russell Gage, guys that can play football, guys that are going to be dependable, they're going to do their job and just be consistent. I really think that's been the theme of the last several years, is just adding guys that know how to play the game, but also be, great at it. And it's really refreshing as a Bucs fan to go into the game knowing we got a chance to win this game. And it's that same feeling every week. Like you go into it knowing we can win, and that feels pretty good.
And what's cool, I like your point about the players that they've brought in. And think about this. They're coming in to an existing nucleus. So you're just kind of upgrading in certain positions, or, just refilling where you've kind of lost somebody. But I like what they've done so far this off season. KB.
Not only that, but when we want to talk about distractions, I mean, we can obviously, going into the 2020 season, obviously there was COVID, everyone was dealing with that, then some injuries came up, and then Antonio Brown comes in, which I originally thought that that was going to be a distraction. Really wasn't, though. I mean, when we think about the Bucs 2020 season, the only distraction was the losing during that second, third stretch of the season. Second, third quarter, like if you're in sales, it's in the dog days of summer type of thing. Like everyone's injured, everyone's playing through stuff, playing against some tough opponents, shit happens. But going into 2020 or 2021, you got, the coming off a Super Bowl, which everyone's, target on your back, distraction. You have the Antonio Brown COVID, situation. That's a distraction.
Yeah.
Then obviously late in the year, you have the Antonio Brown distraction, going into the playoffs when you basically have a playoff, spot secured. Then you deal with more injuries. And this year, it's just nice. I mean, the only distraction right now I can really say is whether or not Gronk plays. But I mean, you look at the guys like Pless said that were brought in. Shaq Mason. I mean, he is a tough-nosed guard who's basically, I don't know how everyone feels about PFF, but when you're looking at everyone at the same scale, I think that's when you got to use PFF to just kind of see, hey, everyone's getting graded on the same scale. I mean, Shaq Mason's performing to the way Ali Marpet was. You're looking at Russell Gage, a guy who can basically, I mean, he's not Antonio Brown, and anyone who thinks he's going to come in and be Antonio Brown, is crazy. But what he is he's steady.
Right.
He's reliable. Akeem Hicks, when healthy, this man is a mountain mover. When the Chicago Bears defense was thriving, yes, Khalil Mack got all the praise, but Akeem Hicks was the one who was setting everything up for everyone. So, and then we're not even talking about guys like Logan Ryan, who, everyone puts him as a backup safety. I mean, Logan Ryan's going to start for this team.
Right.
I mean, they literally just posted, 4 players' biceps on the Bucs Twitter account, and it's Vita Vea, it's Akeem Hicks, it's Kieft, and honestly, the most impressive biceps that I saw was freaking Logan Ryan. I mean, this man is coming in. He's going to provide a physicality, a mental side of the game. Apparently, again, we can talk to Evan Winter about these rumors, but this man comes in to Tennessee, and Mike Vrabel's like, I need this guy out of the fucking room because he's really good at his job and he's telling us how we should do it. Like, he's one of the smartest guys in the room.
Yeah.
These are the
That's
type
football
of people
IQ.
that are coming in.
Right.
And as Pless mentioned, I think Saints and other NFC and NFL fans will say, okay, the team's Tom Brady, you brought in Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady is great, but we also saw you can get pretty much any team into the playoffs. But man, if there's nothing else there, I mean, that's an early exit,
Yeah.
type situation. No matter where, you can have the greatest coach of all time, and you're losing to the Tennessee Titans round 1, and you're done. Like,
Yeah.
they're bringing in the right people. There's a couple things I would love to nitpick if we're going to talk about how to use this last $10 million. I'd like to see another pass rusher. Help Joe Tryon and Sharenka not have all this pressure, or if, let's say, Shaq gets hurt,
Right.
got to have someone reliable there. But for the most part, other than the left guard position, let's have the season start.
And you
This team's ready.
mentioned pass rusher. Who would you like to see a pass rusher? I mean,
So
that's a very,
there's
or what
see the thing.
what moves?
Well, the thing about the Bucs is, I've seen the name Anthony Barr get thrown around. Anthony Barr's a little bit of a tweener. He can provide some pass rush. Think of him as like Levante David. If he's blitzing, he can be good, but he's not a stand-up outside linebacker,
Right.
There's the I've heard people even say KJ Wright. I mean, we don't need that type of outside linebacker. We need someone who can, I mean, I'm going to throw out Carl Nassib because I think he can be super cheap. And if he's playing because someone's injured, it's really not the worst thing in the world. But I mean, there's even a Ryan Kerrigan, Justin Houston. Get someone old in here. Bruce Arians actually brought in a guy named Dwight Freeney late in his career and got a nice, 6-week stretch. I think he got like 7 or 8 sacks.
You can
Like,
put him on
that's what you
put him
need.
on a snap count or a pitch count, and you can kind of
Third and long only,
Yeah.
which we know what the Bucs are. They're going to show blitz, and they're going to come 70% of the time. But like, if for that other 30 and you want to have someone like Justin Houston in there that can provide a nice 4-man rush, maybe play a little inside, maybe a little out, like what we expected JPP to do, which God bless him, he was hurt. But we need someone to kind of fill in that kind of role. But JTS have that starting gig because I think he's ready.
Yep. Plus, your thoughts?
No, I would agree with what Ken said. Just looking at the names, I mean, yeah, obviously Ryan Kerrigan would be a good fit. I even like Carlos Dunlap. I think if he's still available, he'd be an interesting name. Again, veteran that can produce pass rush. I don't know if he's played out outside linebacker before as far as standing up, but I'm sure he's athletic enough to do it. I think he would be someone to look at. But I also like the fit of Carl Nassib just because he knows the scheme. He understands, where to be and everything. So that wouldn't be a bad move. I just to add him as a depth piece and put him back into that role that he was, doing a couple years ago back in 2019. So I think that would be very intriguing. But yeah, I mean, looking at this roster, I mean, I think it's pretty much set up for success. I think you have a lot of guys in position to step up and be productive. And Joe Tryon-Shanka is definitely one of those guys. I feel like he's got everything in place to be very successful this year, especially with the interior additions that they've made. Logan Hall, Akeem Hicks, those guys are going to help the outside pass rushers. And really, it's just about winning one-on-one. So you get a one-on-one, he's supposed to go win that. He should win that every time, pretty much.
And I want to kind of piggyback off of that. I mean, for me, when I look at the offense, I'm like, okay, offense is a no-brainer. We know what's going on with the offense. But on the flip side, on the other side of the ball, I think the defensive line is going to be something they're going to be like really scrutinized with the departure of Ndamukong Suh, with the departure of I'm just drawing a blank. JPP, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the departure of those two guys that were very integral in this team being successful. Now, this defensive line, they have to get home. And I think you mentioned it multiple times last year in multiple games that the Bucs weren't getting the pressure that they need to get in order to help the linebackers in the secondary. So these guys need to get home. JTS is going to have to ball out. We know what we've seen from Shaq. I think there will be a lot that will be asked of him as well. And Ndamukong Suh. I'm sorry, Vita Vea. Goodness. I got brain damage or something. But but no, Vita Vea. Got to get home. Got to get pressure on the quarterback. Got to knock him down. Got to make him uncomfortable and make him, really rush his throws and, whatever else you need to do where he's not sitting in the pocket and he's picking apart your secondary. I think that's going to be huge.
Right, absolutely. And I think you look at this offseason, I think the Bucs realized that they needed to change the dynamic up front as far as what they had. You look at Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh, both are power rushers. Both are, guys that can win with power. And at times they can win with finesse, but I think the Bucs look at it, and obviously it was said right off the bat, we need to get quicker up front. We need to get faster in the inside rush. And obviously adding a athletic Logan Hall who can win quick with that quick first step, get disruption and penetration. Then you add Akeem Hicks who can also do the same thing. I think that kind of dynamic, adding with your speed rushers on the outside, or, Shaq Barrett, who is a technician, and then JTS with the pure athletic speed off the corner, you're changing the dynamics of your defense, and it allows your defense to be different, and it allows it to be a little bit more unique. And I think that's what you're seeing really on both sides of the ball. You look at the offense, I think the balance is changing. It's shifting to a more dynamic offensive line with the addition of Shaq Mason. He's just more balanced in how he run blocks and how he pass protects. There's a little bit different there that they can incorporate, pulling a Shaq Mason to the left side. It gives you tons of versatility, tons of things to do offensively. So there's just a lot of things that could be a little bit more unique that's going to benefit the Bucs, especially when you look at all the moves that they've made this offseason.
You're talking about the offensive line. I do want to kind of stick with that just for a little bit. The Buccaneers did lose a tight end in Rob Gronkowski. And
did they though?
We're at this point right now because of where we are. I'm going to say we did. We don't know for sure. There's a lot of.
How about this? Let's say we haven't re-signed him yet because he's still a free agent.
Right. He is a free agent. Absolutely. But you heard the talk of retirement, so we're just going to kind of go with that. We'll go with that right there. his ability to block. I really believe if he had more weight on him, he would be an offensive lineman. We've talked about his footwork as a blocker, and he's incredible. He's incredible to watch. Watch this guy block and help out the offensive line. And he's like, his services were invaluable. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Gronk's ability to block is unquestioned, which is why I never want to hear Travis Kelce is the best tight end ever. If you want to talk about George Kittle, I'm open to that conversation because to me, there's a difference between being Travis Kelce and Kyle Pitts, no offense, Pless, than being a Gronk or I just blanked on him, or a Kittle. But I'll let Pless speak to Cade Otton because that's his boy. I wasn't as high on Cade coming into the draft, but Pless had identified him pretty early, and during all the draft shows on day 2, day 3, he was ready to go with Cade. But I'm gonna throw out Coke Heft, man. This kid, I had never fucking heard of him. Let's just be real. He was barely a starter on the University of Minnesota. Big redhead. Think of Ryan Jensen, but at the tight end position. This guy is nasty. I forgot who threw up. I think it was Kyle Krabs. We're not talking about just Bucs media throwing out now. Videos of Coke Keith, a 7th round pick. Blocking tight end.
Glass, right?
This man. What was that question?
I said this is the guy that eats glass, isn't it?
No, that's Luka Decky, and we'll get to him probably at some point.
Never mind. Sorry, my mistake. Go ahead.
Coke Keith. I mean, what he was doing from a run blocking at a tight end level is what you would want to see offensive linemen in high school do in order to give him that Division I scholarship. I mean, he was doing it to grown-ass men. We're talking, 2nd overall pick from University of Michigan, goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coke Heft blocked him like a left tackle, both in the pass game and the run game.
Mm-hmm.
That's your 7th round pick, and he's going to have a role. Remember Anthony Auclair had a role on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Coke Heft has that role, and I think you're not going to see as much of a 6th offensive lineman on the field because of Coke Heft.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo those sentiments, and that's what I mean about being more dynamic on the offensive side of the ball and how they've address being more balanced and the type of players that they have. So when you look at Cade Otton and Coke Keith, those two guys, what they bring is they can block. They have the ability to. Now Cade's a little bit more athletic, where he can get out wide and do some different things. Blocking in space is probably a little bit better for him, but he can also inline block. And then you look at Coke Keith, who, like Ken said, he's just a monster. He's, all of 6'5", 260 plus pounds. He was drafted. Yeah, he was drafted in the 6th round, to correct Ken, but still a late round pick. Late round pick.
And, 6th round, 7th round.
Yeah, it's all the same. But out of Minnesota, and obviously the Bucs have had a little history of drafting Minnesota players. Antoine Winfield and Tyler Johnson, and now you look at Coke Keith, who I think he's going to be a very important piece to this offense because, like Ken said, he can be that extra offensive lineman on the line. He can max protect. He can help with your run game, and he can also catch short passes in the intermediate game. So when you look at that standpoint, like, guy brings a lot to the table. And but back to Cade Otton, I just love the dude. I mean, the guy is just consistent. He's a football player. He grew up in a football family. His dad was a coach. His grandpa was a coach. So, I mean, he just has that background, and he just understands the game very well. And great hands. And I mean by like great hands. Like, the guy doesn't drop a football. Like, the guy knows how to catch, and he's just really solid. And I think a lot of fans are going to like him, especially when they see him on the field. He's going to be a fan favorite. Same thing with Coke Keith.
When Washington moves to the Big Ten or the SEC, can they be the Washington Buccaneers? Because they're a farm system.
Could be.
It could be. I wanted to ask on this offense, will the tight end be utilized as we've seen in the past?
No.
This season?
To me, the tight end is Gronk and Brady. I mean, you saw it, I think, the beginning of last year. Who was getting all of the real work? It was OJ Howard because he was in more of a traditional role, wasn't doing anything special. OJ just got some yak because was super athletic. He didn't have the injury that he was dealing with at the time, and everything was great. Gronk, I mean, we saw it, the whole mending of the minds, Brady, Leftwich, kind of molding that offense to be a little bit more not only QB friendly, but also Gronk friendly because what Gronk was doing in the BA offense wasn't working. And what we saw last year even was a completely different scheme than what we came out with in 2020. So with moving forward, I mean, I can go back and find. I think I put on Twitter one day, like all of the tight ends Bruce Arians had with in Pittsburgh and in Arizona, with the exception of Heath Miller. I mean, there's nothing, man.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Andy Finley from over in Scotland, getting drunk, eating pizza, walking home, and listening to Buc What You Heard.
Awesome.
What more could you ask for?
What time is it over there?
Jesus, it's late.
It's late, yeah.
I'm thinking it's got to be at least 1 or 2 in the morning, maybe.
That's great. He's partying on a Wednesday.
Yeah. That's what you do, man. That's what.
Well, it's Thursday technically.
Thursday now, yeah.
Hey, that's what makes Andy
Thursday.
Even better. But I mean, like Ken was saying, the offense is going to be modified. Is what I'm getting to. It's going to be more dynamic in a sense where going to have more balance. I think they're going to want to run the football a little bit more. Not saying they're not going to be a pass heavy team, but I think the option to do more things in the run game is going to be there because of a Keefe, because of a Cade Otton, because of Shaq Mason. Those guys can do so much. And Luke Giddicky, him at left guard is, I think, just going to be awesome because he's that same mindset. He loves to punish people. He just wants to put your face in the dirt and make you eat it. So, I mean, it's going to be very fun to see. And I can't wait to see what kind of wrinkles they bring to the table.
So, and I want to ask both of you guys, what do you think? Do you pretty much throw out all the game film from last year, or is this pretty much on par with what we saw last year? Or
I would say,
you mentioned, go ahead.
I would say look at 2020 a little bit more than 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be still a little bit different. I mean, if there's even if Chris Godwin, like last year, I would have put my money if Chris Godwin was healthy the full season, he would have led the team in yards. In fact, I think I put that
100%.
until he got hurt.
Yeah.
This year, I would say it's going to be Mike Evans. Almost no shortage of that. I think this is going to be a more down the field team, but they're going to be running the ball a lot more, whether we like it or not. So my like big bold prediction for this year would be that we're not going to have 1,000-yard rusher, mainly because when he's either going to maybe get hurt or we're just going to have a lot more utilization. I'm really coming around on Rashad White.
Oh, he's
and
good.
I think Keyshawn Vaughn is ready to be able to contribute as that third actual running back, not a third down back, third running back. And I think you're going to see 4 running backs healthy on game day, and they're going to get snaps. I think that's going to happen.
I'm still kind of bullish on Gio Bernard.
Gio, yeah.
Well, Gio has it. I mean, Gio's a third down back only, but I think with Shaq Mason is going to provide more to the run game than
most definitely
than Ali Marpet did. Ali Marpet, to me, he was a solid run block, kind of like Tristan Wirfs, solid run blocker, elite pass blocker.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq Mason is good pass blocker, elite run blocker.
Oh yeah.
And then Luke Giddicky, I think, is going to win the left guard job, and that man eats glass, as Gene likes to say. And I want to run up the middle, and I think Donovan Smith, he's not an elite pass blocker by any means, but if you watch any film of Donovan Smith pulling,
Jesus.
My God, he lays
violent.
People out.
It's violent.
Yeah.
So I want to run up the middle and to that left side. I that's what I want to do. I hate that Brian Leftwich and BA Love duo. I hate it. I hate it to death. I think this is a power run team. And I think if they run power as their base scheme, we're going to run for 1,500, 2,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But to add to that, I mean, they did adjust things last year. They did do more zone runs, which was great to see. They mixed it up a little bit. So they mixed in some power. They mixed in duo. They obviously did some more, zone, outside zone, inside zone, just a lot of different things. We saw reverses that actually worked. Mike Evans even got a reverse. Imagine that. But
He had an
there's been
interception before reverse in his career.
yeah, I know, crazy thing. But just looking at it, and I think you talked about the new guards on the offensive line. I think the ability to run to the right or left more dominantly is going to play a huge factor, and that's where the tight ends come from. I mean, Bud says in the chat, Co Keefe at fullback. I think you can definitely see that. You could see Kate Otten as an H back. All those type of things can come into play. We've seen Cam Brate do it. So just the versatility that they'll be able to add. And let me talk about my boy Rashad White. This guy is special.
He's doing the rounds too. I don't think. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
other than
Yeah,
Real
he's been
Bucs
on-
talking Buc What You Heard, I think he's been on every other.
No, he's been on
social
our show.
media.
He's been on our show too.
Oh, he was on your show recently. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like he's made the rounds with literally every podcast station. I even saw him, I think, on the Jim Rome show.
Yeah.
Like this guy's making the rounds, and you know what? He's impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive dude. Special character. I'll just say that. Like, just top to bottom, he's just genuine, and he really cares. Like, he's got the right mindset on his shoulders, and I wouldn't be shocked if, by the end of the year, he's our top back. I wouldn't be shocked at all because he's that good. Like, his ability to catch the football, run it. I think he's got the total package. Now it'll just be, can he learn and learn it quickly as far as pass protection, stuff like that.
And I think everyone tried to make Rojo David Johnson. I think Rashad White is more David Johnson.
Oh yeah,
his hands. He's got his hands.
And you look at the size. I mean, 6'1", over 200 pounds.
Natural receiver more than running back.
Exactly.
But
That's exactly where I was going. And I loved Rojo while he was here. Loved him, regardless of what anybody thought. But his hands, he just didn't. It was the most unnatural thing to watch him catch the ball. And you're
it's
like,
funny watching KC fans thinking he's gonna blow like Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of the water and all that. And in that Chiefs scheme, I just don't know how Rojo is gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
If I was him,
it's
Cleveland
in Baltimore. Baltimore is one of the only places that he could have gone and thrive. That I personally believe he could have gone.
He would make Gus Bus. No offense to Gus Bus, but I would take Rojo in that offense over Gus Bus any day. Who's the kid in the first round they drafted recently that got hurt?
Dobbins.
No offense to Dobbins, even Rojo in that offense. The defense knows Rojo's coming, they have a decent offensive line. I mean,
that was the thing right there, is to just have him set up in that. So I don't know, man. That's one of those things that I don't know what you can really do about it. I wish him success wherever he goes or wherever he ends up. But I'm happy with where everything is right now. Somebody, Tempe 1D was talking about Tristan in the conversation for best Bucs offensive line pick ever.
Well, I mean, there's only one other person really, and I mean two. I guess there's Ali Marpet.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's what's his face?
Paul
Gruber.
Gruber, yeah.
I mean that's literally it. I think if Wirfs makes it through his first contract, his rookie contract, the way he's playing, no offense to Ali, but I think he wins that out. And I would take Ali probably over Paul Gruber because I never really saw him play, and also being a lineman back then is different than today.
Yeah, I love Tristan Wirfs. There was some linebacker on Instagram that was jumping out of the pool talking about
the 7th round pick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. And so me, I've got to get in and say something. I'm like, yeah, we saw that last year.
So no love for Keanu Walker.
Well, no love to him. It's just
kidding.
like,
I'm kidding.
All I'm saying is this guy is 10 times bigger, and he's doing the same thing. I mean,
yeah. I was just talking about best O line, for the Bucs pick. But Tristan, I think Tristan has it, running away. He's already an all pro. He's just so elite, so fast. And me personally, I can say this, when I was scouting him back in 2020, I had questions. I had questions about his pass protection. He got beat at times inside, and he just learned everything so quick. I mean, it just all his weaknesses went away in one off season
with no off season.
With no off season, even better. Yeah, just a training camp.
Could that have been attributed to coaching in college? The way that he came in and picking up the speed coming from college and picking up the speed of the NFL, a totally different animal right there. Yeah. And what he was able to accomplish in that short period of time is just astonishing to me. Like, wow, this is crazy. And he still continued to improve.
Yeah, it just shows, like, going up against JPP and Shaq Barrett every day, obviously that raised the bar and it made him a lot better quickly. And because I was worried about his footwork. I was worried about his inside pass protection abilities, because I saw at times he got beat on stunts, and sometimes that still happens today. It just happens because, I mean, guys are good, guys are fast, it's going to happen. But I was a little concerned, but he proved me wrong big time. And the way these rookies can develop so quickly, it's kind of like, and this is probably not a good comparison, but Kendall Beckwith, Gene, we were talking about him, and we completely missed on that. And like, he just came in and developed so fast and became, an awesome player.
I was furious when he got drafted. I was furious.
Yeah.
You remember?
and Justin Evans was kind of the same thing.
Saints great.
Yeah, yeah, I know, it's crazy. He's on the Saints right now. I wish him the best. I hope he does well. It sucks, with the injury, and same thing with Kendall Beckwith. It sucks that these are taking guys' careers.
Yeah, Justin Evans' first career interception, Tom Brady. But
yeah,
it's funny that you were mentioning about Wirfs in the 2020 draft, because I'm just going to be honest. He was the only one I didn't scout of the top 4 tackles, because I thought there was a 0.0 chance he was going to be there.
Exactly.
So I was mainly I was out on Mekhi Becton. To me, it was Andrew Thomas and Jedrick Wills.
Yeah.
Those are my two, but I thought Wills wasn't going to be there. So with me, I dove all the way in and Andrew Thomas, and my final result was I'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not indifferent, not bad, not good. Wirfs, I was ecstatic, because had we not moved up, we wouldn't have gotten them. I mean, San Francisco was moving out of that pick. And remember when everyone complained about the 2 4th-round picks we spent for Gronk and for Wirfs? Yeah. I think both paid off.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hey, question. Yes, Quan is still in New Orleans.
No, I think he's a free agent.
He's a free agent?
They picked him up. I believe he's still a free agent. He might have re-signed with the Saints. I'm not sure. But I want to say or maybe he signed with a different team. I thought he might have moved on. But that's
I know Saints fans wanted him back.
He's a good hype man. He knows all their handshakes and stuff.
He might be back. I'll look it up here. Let's see if I can find it real quick.
He's a free agent still.
He's still a free agent? Yeah, I'm sure that.
I figured he was still. Isn't he coming off another injury?
Injury, yeah. Because he was out the end of the year when the Saints needed to win to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, technically they did, but San Fran made that upset.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad for that too. So, whatever. So guys, we were talking about some of these draft picks that have been, we've kind of been mentioning. Who stands out to you that you really want to see what they do, especially in camp? Who do you have your eye on? Pless, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, I mean, well, I've already talked about, obviously the tight end room. I love them. I love Rachaad White because obviously he's a friend of the show, but he's just a great dude in general. So obviously I'm cheering for him. But I'm really excited to, obviously see Logan Hall and, Luke Giddicky. I mean, I think both of those guys are going to bring some physicality, and they bring that nasty to the field. And I like that. I like how they play. I like their demeanor. No nonsense background, and they just come ready to work. So that will be, I guess, Luke Giddicky will be the big question, because obviously he's got the opportunity to start, and I think he will start, to be honest. I just feel like he's the guy they want, and I think they would be okay with him being the rookie on the offensive line, because you have veterans surrounding him and Donovan Smith and Ryan Jensen. So I think he'll be okay. And obviously with Tom leading you, they'll make sure he doesn't, make mistakes. I think they'll make sure he's taken care of. So, and I think the upside for him is just way bigger than, Aaron Stinney.
Yeah. And, I want to kind of go back to that too, what you were just talking about, because the Bucs are very fortunate to have the offensive line they do. I know the Bucs lost Ali Marpet, but when you think about the core, the nucleus that they have, you can just plug players in and you're not set back to where you're like rebuilding. You still have a viable team, and those guys can come in. And I think that, just based on what I've seen, that an offensive line gels faster when you've got the core guys there and you're just kind of plugging other guys in.
For me, I mean, we kind of knocked out Logan Hall, Rashad White, K-Dot, and Ko Kieft and Luka Decky. I mean, they're all going to have a role this year. So I'm just going to talk about two people who, one's going to start, one's not. But Jake Camarda, I'm going to throw him out because he's not only a punter, he's going to be a kickoff guy and a holder, which I mean, there's a lot of debate in 2018, 2019 about how important holding is for the Bucs. So I want to see how a rookie is going to handle the three different roles coming in. Plus, I mean, even in preseason, I want to see this kid's hang time. Obviously, I was a big punt god guy. His big thing was, I guess, he didn't have hang time. So I want to see what all the hype's about. Why, he was, I think the Ravens took what was people considered like the consensus number 1 or 2 punter. Jake Camarda was really the 3 or 4. So what made the Bucs really fall in love with this guy, and how does he handle the Bucs, win situation in the south end zone? And then the other guy I want to throw out is Zion McCollum, because he is not going to start this year. But what does he show to allow the Bucs to be like, yeah, Jamel Dean, we're not going to pay you? Or does Zion McCollum play well enough this year that they go, you know what? We don't need Ross Cockrell because Logan Ryan's going to start in the slot, and we have SMB who can play inside and out. Zion McCollum, you're that Richard Sherman for us this year. I want to see what he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
We haven't even talked about Bradley Pinion. He was released.
Oh yeah, I was going to give that whole segment to KB.
I know that's KB's favorite player.
The Pinion burial.
Well, Pless knows more than most because we went to the shutout game of the Saints game together, and it wasn't his worst game as a Buck, but I literally was telling Pless everything, how it was going to happen and how shitty he was going to do, and boy, did he back that up. But no offense to Pinion, he had a great year in 2019, and then I think he was okay in 2020. Wasn't good, took a step back, but 2021 was just obscene.
I mean, significant injury he was playing with. I mean, but still,
we want to talk about Baker Mayfield. I mean, people will complain about non-throwing shoulder. It's important. Anyone who's played baseball or quarterback, I mean, you're doing a lot. That's all your power for your hips is you're initiating that. And if you have a dislocated shoulder and you're worrying about, I know Myles Garrett was on his team, but you're worrying about Myles Garrett coming down your throat. That's going to bother you. So same thing with Pinion. What was it? A quad? I mean, that's super important too.
Yeah, especially for something like him. Yeah.
Like it is what it is. Happy he played through it, but I mean, it is what it is. I think he's going to have 2 really good punting games against the Bucs and kind of be like whatever for the Falcons. So
real quick, Andy said it's after 12:35. Probably, well, I guess it'll be 12:41 now over there. He's asking, do you think the Bucs will use Evans and Godwin and the receivers more now that Gronk is retired? Can't see him using Brait or other tight end, his go-to on third, the way Gronk was. So I think that we've kind of talked about this. I think you'll see some different wrinkles in the offense. And I just don't think the tight end will be utilized like we've seen in the past. What
does Brait do? Can pick you up a third down and catch a touchdown.
Yeah.
Him and Gio literally just have one role on this team.
Yeah. And they got to make it work when they get it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think you're going to see a lot of usage from the receivers. This team wants to be in 3 wide, 4 wide receiver sets, even 5 wide at times.
Which is, I think, great for Scotty Miller. If Scotty can stay healthy, this
Yep.
is dream scenario for him.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think you're going to see a mixture of those guys. Obviously, Russell Gage is going to have a very important role. I think Gage and his ability to just separate and create space, he's going to give Tom Brady easy throws to make completions. And that's going to be huge for this offense. And really, you could see him become that third down option as far as getting conversions. Really reminds me a lot of Ike Hilliard back in the days, where he would just be Mr. Third Down after third down conversion. But obviously, Russell's a little bit more athletic, a little bit more faster than Ike was. But he's just going to be very consistent and be that playmaker Tom looks for, especially when it's 3rd and 5 and you need a guy to create space. He can do that.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's see. They were saying, yeah, it'll open up Scooter and Gage. They were Bud Cannibals was agreeing with you. Will the Brewer says, I think Brake will get more touchdowns. Again, you just kind of open it up for opportunities for other players on the field.
Well, it has to. I mean, Gronk's obviously Brady's all-time favorite red zone target. And Mike Evans is surprisingly up there if you want to look at only having 2 seasons with him and the amount of touchdowns he has with all the receivers Brady played with. I mean, that's obviously going to at least maintain, but all of Gronk's red zone targets are now available as of right now.
Yeah. And I think, he's kind of building that connection with Brate towards the end of the season too. So I don't know if I want to read too much into that, but I know there were opportunities and, he was going to Brate on many occasions. Andy was saying Miller and Gage are going to have a big year. Bucs seem to be deeper at the wide receiver position this year.
And I think that's interesting because, I mean, wide receivers obviously are most deep position on the team. But I mean, you can only keep 6 of these guys, maybe 7. But I think it's going to be 6 is going to be the magic number. And I think last year there was a lot of pressure to maintain Johnson despite the weight thing, Miller, and then Darden being the draft pick. I think that was like kind of set in stone. Like guys like Cyril Grayson started on the practice squad, like didn't really get that opportunity. I think this year it's truly open season. Darden doesn't have a safe spot. Miller maybe even might not have a safe spot. And certainly Tyler Johnson is not safe.
Is Perryman gone? Is Rashad Perryman gone?
He's back.
He's gone. He's back?
No, he's back.
Yeah, Perriman's on the roster. So,
okay.
I mean,
you
look at
non-guaranteed veteran deal.
Yeah, you look at Perriman, you look at Cyril Grayson. There's been a lot of hype about Devin Tompkins, the undrafted receiver out of Utah State.
And he set all kinds of records.
Yeah,
he's watch wherever you
he's barely 5'7". He's a small stature guy, similar to Jalen Darden.
Uh,
I was told Cooper Kupp was too slow. So same with Hunter Renfrow.
Can somebody please run a kickoff back, a punt back, even a punt?
Adam Humphries was the last one, man.
I'm just saying,
that wasn't even a punt or kickoff. Wasn't that a field goal like in a preseason game? Was the last time?
Yeah, it was. He caught it in the back of the end zone.
I was at that game too.
Unbelievable. That's all I want to do. That's my wish for this year is to see a kickoff just return.
And that's gonna be a big competition this year. Who's gonna be that return dude? Is Jalen Darden gonna take that next step up? Is the speed of the game okay for him this year? Has he caught up to it? Can he be consistent and be that guy? We've seen flashes of his return ability. Devin Tompkins is another one. Is he going to be able to put his name in the, punt / kickoff returner? It's tough to run kickoffs back because of the touchback and everything. Really, you need a dynamic punt returner. That's what it comes down to. You need a guy that can catch punts and get you 10 to 12 yards consistently, if possible. Set your team up for better field position. Kickoffs, obviously, you like to start 25 or better. That anything worse than the 25-yard line, it's a failure.
There you go.
I mean, and it's crazy. Like no one's doing. Remember when we drafted Aguayo and it was like, you're going to do all the pinning.
The coffin corner. Yeah,
the coffin corner. No one's done that.
No one's really doing it.
No one's been successful at it at all. And I mean, there's been a lot of big legs, and there's still even Johnny Heckers of the world out there. Like no one's coffin corner. It's all about punting now.
It's pretty risky though.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if this rookie and Jake Camarda can, do some of those things. Obviously, he's
I
got
just want him to kick it out of the end zone. Make it easy
right.
for yourself, Jake from State Farm. Just do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I'm excited to see him. He's got the leg, and it'll be interesting to see how he does with the hang time and everything, and help out this coverage team because that's
It's
something
bad,
that it definitely needs to improve. It's got to
and
be
why
better.
was I mean, and Jake, what's his face? Arians was Jake. I'm not trying to throw any shade at you or anything, but there was a lot of backing up. Why Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean were playing on special teams.
Mm,
Zion, I saw someone. I think Tempe was talking about who are you looking for in terms of special teams. Zion McCollum better fucking take one of them off the field. I
yeah.
don't want to see those guys on special teams anymore.
I I think that's the plan. I mean, obviously with his speed, athleticism, size,
Mhm.
he's going to be. I think you could put him in as one of the gunners and
And
be really
coverage guys. Yeah.
successful there. I think that's been a big void since Ryan Smith left, and
Yeah.
now you're adding McCollum there on one of the sides, and you could even see potentially, Rashad White on the other side. I know it's been floated out there, so you could see him.
If he's not
Scotty
getting touches, do it.
Scotty Miller has done it. I know he's smaller. You don't always
He
want him
made
to
a couple
put.
tackles last
He
year.
made a couple tackles, though, some big plays, forced a fumble. So guys like that, and obviously our special team leaders and KJ Britt, Grant Stewart, those
Grant
guys
Stewart.
are going to be right there. So, but yeah, Zion McCollum, I think, is definitely going to be one of those dudes. And now you added a Logan Ryan and Keanu Neal, who I
Yeah.
think can be benefits on special teams as well, especially Keanu Neal with his tackling ability.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think that the Bucks did realize, that there were some deficiencies in the special teams game,
Yeah.
and I think that's something that they are going to work on. It's something that fans don't really talk about because you're looking more at what's happening on defense or what's happening on offense, but field position is going to be huge this year. When
Mhm.
you look at the schedule that the Bucks have and the teams that they're facing, it's that everything that you do is going to be important. It's going to be impacted
Especially the
in some
first
way.
month, man.
Yeah. Oh man, that's murderer's row right there. So
I love it. I love the challenge.
yeah,
I love to see
absolutely,
it.
absolutely. And again,
But yeah.
I said this at the beginning of the show, but I'm saying it now. Bucks fans, enjoy the ride. Don't overthink this. Don't read too much in anything. Just enjoy these games. That's all
Mhm.
I can. That's all I can tell you. I mean, there's no. This is the time to be a Bucks fan right now and enjoy these games. So yeah, there may be a loss that you weren't expecting, but enjoy the games. Just that's pretty much what my whole theme for this year.
Well, and the Bucks started their schedule. Amari Cooper is no longer playing for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
True.
Mike Thomas, I saw a video of him running. It did not. It looked like people were saying he was hobbling. I would disagree that he was hobbling. I think he just looks slow. So I mean, remember they still have Chris Olave. Jameis is coming back. Apparently, he's running without a knee brace right now. But the Saints game is obviously going to be hard, whether Jameis is starting at quarterback or not
Yeah.
in New Orleans. No Devontae Adams for the Packers.
That's wild.
No Tyreek. What was the problem with the Bucks and the Chiefs? Take away that one quarter with Tyreek Hill. The Chiefs don't look as bad anymore.
Hmm.
I think 3-1's a possibility, and I think the loss still might be the Saints. Just
Yeah.
because it's in New Orleans and
Yeah, I'm just pretty
we
much,
struggle.
I'm just whatever.
But
And
if you're telling me we
the
walk
reason
out
I
the
say that,
first 4 games with wins over the Cowboys, Packers, and Chiefs, I don't know how anyone can tell me this isn't. I think we need to aim for 13. This team's winning 12 games. I don't think they're going to be 11-6. They're going to be 12-5 or better.
yeah, and I think they're going to win the really tough scratch and claw games. I think they're going to win a lot of those games. Just
Well, and then if you're looking at the schedule, the Steelers, rookie quarterback or Mitch Trubisky, which I guess technically is a Bucks killer, but it was also Mike Smith. I think we can just X out that whole era.
Yeah, let's not even see. You brought up Arguello, and then you bring up Mike Smith.
Well, even the Ravens, what do the Bucks do well? Yes, we suck against mobile quarterbacks like Kyler or whoever who can actually throw the ball pretty. And Lamar's not a bad thrower, but what do the Bucks do really well? Stop the run. Will
Yeah.
Golston's going to take over that Ravens game, and that's at home.
Mhm.
The Rams game, I mean, Yes. What do the Bucs do though? Score points on the Rams. So, whoever's going to score more of that game is probably going to win that game. Seahawks in London, they're even without big, I mean, they're Drew Lock at this point. They're literally nothing. Browns, people think Deshaun Watson's going to get 8 games. I really believe it's going to be a year until the rest of the civil suits are done. And then we'll look at next year in terms of how much additional punishment there may be, if any at all. But I think this year he's done.
Yeah.
So that Browns game, even though it's in Cleveland in November, that's looking pretty good because what do the Bucs do? Stop the run. Saints at home, I think by that time, the Saints, I don't think are going to be competing really by December. And you got the 49ers, who's their quarterback.
I'm going to say this. It's all
the schedule's not as bad as what people think anymore.
I'm looking at Alvin Kamara and his suspension. I don't know how.
That's who I forgot for week 2. He's not playing week 2. There's no way.
Right. There's no way he's playing. I don't. How serious is this going to be? I mean, he hasn't gone to trial yet. And
I think it's going to be 6 to 8 games.
He beat the brakes off that dude. Do you think he gets jail time for that? I mean,
well, if he does, he's out for the year because the NFL just won't deal with that. Yeah. But assuming he has a really good lawyer, I mean,
and
I think he's going to get community service.
And going back to Deshaun Watson, I just don't see him playing this season. He's been too much of a distraction for the
Jacoby
NFL.
Brissett, which we know the Bucs love them some Jacoby Brissett, whether if it's the Colts or the Dolphins. That's all I'm going to say.
Exactly. And this is one of those things where this guy has brought so much negative press on the NFL. They got to sit him down. You have to let the smoke clear. I mean, what the Cleveland Browns did, bringing him in during the heat of this all these civil suits, it was a slap in the face to a lot of females out there. I still don't know. I haven't seen the evidence. I'm not here to judge either way, but it should have been something that they should have just kind of held off on it until everything, the smoke had cleared. But the way they did it, they did what they did.
Well, can I just make one comment about Deshaun Watson real quick?
Absolutely.
So to me, obviously, they did the trade and all that. I mean, the NFL is a business. Owners don't give a shit. They already laid their hand there. The biggest thing to me was the structuring of not only the most average, money per year, so you're still paying him to do what he did, but they structured his contract, Gene, where essentially this year, if he got suspended for the whole year, Watson's only losing out on $1 million.
That's it. That is it.
So did you actually punish him? Because they structured the contract essentially as a fail-safe that Watson's going to get every penny except maybe $1 million.
But going back to it, I mean, he's not on the field, and this this is another year. But you got to again. I understand, but you got players that are going to be coming up on contracts. As we go along, it's just a wasted opportunity with the level of talent that they have. And just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would just want to say, back, talking about the schedule and, obviously expectations, this team is, I think, obviously we talked about it, set up for success and set up for a 12 or more win season, like Ken said. But I'll say, NFL is week to week. Every matchup changes throughout the week because we just don't know as far as injuries and, who's available, who's playing, what kind of matchups, how the team is performing, all that plays a factor. Momentum, it's all real. So, but I will say with the loss against the Rams, I just feel like this team is on a mission. I think they're motivated. I think
they built their team to play the Rams.
They did. And I think they built their team to play the Saints as well. And it'll be very interesting to see how they match up now because of those new dynamics I talked about earlier, offensive line, defensive line, being more physical up front, running the football a little bit differently. It'll be interesting to see those type of wrinkles. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. I don't expect this team to show anything during preseason. And, usually that's the case. They don't.
It's going to all be vanilla.
Very vanilla. And I would expect a lot of the main guys not to play a whole lot of snaps. You're probably going to see a lot of the, younger prospects and guys that need playing time, to be in there. But I'm just really looking forward to this season. I think that the team has the right mindset. I think just the way Todd Bowles has been speaking, I really enjoy his the words that are coming out of his mouth as far as just, we need to play better around Tom Brady. and we need to make sure guys do their job, and we're not winning because of Tom Brady. We're winning because we're playing well around him. And I think that's going to be a big mindset going into this year. I think a lot of games last year, games were won because Tom was just great, because certain guys weren't doing their job. You go back to the Jets game, you go back to the Saints games, you go back.
I think the Rams game was the epitome of that, where literally
Right.
everyone on the field let Tom down because Tom was the only person who came ready to play that day.
Absolutely.
I think if Wirfs isn't hurt, I think it's a different game as well.
I was talking about the regular season game, but yeah, that
sorry,
playoff
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But I think the two biggest games, honestly, if you ask me what were our two hardest games on the schedule, I'm going to say at the 49ers and home versus the Bengals. That stretch of the 49ers, Bengals, and Cardinals, and we know the Cardinals tend to flatten out at the end of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if we make it through that stretch 2-1, more so than even I think the first four games were coming out 3-1.
Yeah.
But if we make it through that stretch 2-1, I'm extremely happy going into the playoffs because you got the Panthers, Falcons to end the year.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm disappointed that Cardinals game's on Christmas Day, because I was planning to go see my guy Gene in Arizona, and now I can't do it because
Hey, the Super Bowl's going to be here, man.
They did the Panthers game in Carolina around Christmas time last year for me, and I wanted to go to Bank of America, so I get that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Are you going to the Panthers game this year?
I'm planning on it. October 23rd looks pretty juicy.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. I think the big one for me is Germany. I cannot wait. That's going to be the game.
Did you already get your ticket?
No, they're not available yet.
Working on it.
That's interesting. Why wouldn't they make it available? That's
It should be. I think it's going to be available coming up here within the next week or so.
Yeah.
I know
for those, do you have to only go through Ticketmaster, or can you get them like through the Bucs?
I don't know. I think you do got to go through Ticketmaster.
Probably, yeah. Once
I went on the stadium site and basically signed up. So
yeah.
See, that's interesting because like you go to any stadium, I mean, a third to half of the stadium is already season ticket holders. So it's like that's not an option for that one. And also they're in a bigger soccer stadium that can house more people.
Yeah.
But I just think that's interesting. Should be fun though, Gene.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be get to hang out with Andy and drink beer.
I think the beer is gonna be the winner of that Sunday.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna be pacing myself this time.
Well, we're playing the Seahawks, so that looks pretty good for you to at least not remember the game as much.
What was that, Drew? What is it, Drew? Is it Drew Lock? No,
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock, yeah. Yep. Drew Lock or Gino.
Yeah.
Hey, it could be. Honestly, Gino in that offense, or for what they have, Gino doesn't look too bad.
Gino doesn't look too good either. I have friends that are Seahawks fans, and I've actually taken an interest in watching how they played. And Gino and DK Metcalf do not have good chemistry at all.
Well, that's true, but if we want to talk, I mean, I'm the big Baker Mayfield guy. Take him away from that offensive line and running back room. Drew Lock had Melvin Ingram and what's his face that they just drafted in the second round that I know Pless liked.
Javonte.
That Javonte, they had him in the backfield. They had weapons for days at wide receiver, tight end, and a couple good offensive linemen, and the rest average to above. He was in a good place.
Yeah, he was.
It was Javonte Williams. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just imagine what Russell's going to do with the donkeys over there in AFC land.
I will say, look out for Kenneth Walker. I'm a big fan of him out of Michigan State. I think he'll be good for Seattle. And what
Pete Carroll, man.
Yeah.
The only problem is Pete Carroll likes giving running back carries to 6th-round picks, not his first and second round guys like Rashad Penny. It took Rashad Penny till year 5 to break out.
I think Chris Carson might be in trouble. They're saying he has some neck issues, unfortunately. So
and Penny couldn't stay healthy either. That was a big thing. He couldn't.
But he'd
be the backup and not be healthy.
Well, he was starting to come around a little bit. I think.
Last year he was that guy. If you picked him up mid-season, you're golden.
So I do like that room. So it'll be interesting. They have a interesting dynamic.
But Pete's going to play his game, and that's what he wants. I mean, we all talked about let Russ cook. Well, there's no Russ to cook. You got the Applebee chef. with some high ingredients. If you want to talk about DK, Kenneth Walker, Tyler Lockett, like you got pieces.
Yep.
They
And
just
then
don't
you
have an
got
offensive line, but they're going to run the ball regardless.
and then you got the French fry crew chief in Geno Smith, from McDonald's. And I mean, you can't go wrong. Somebody's going to be cooking up.
Well, when you don't have an offensive line, Gene, you need a guy
Yeah.
who can run around because
Yeah.
Drew ain't going to be that guy.
Yeah, this is very true.
Mhm.
All right, guys. Well, man, this was fun. You know what? We will be back here next week. We're getting closer to the season now. There's getting away from the least favorite part of the NFL's offseason is the offseason itself.
Isn't camp in 2 weeks?
27th, I think. July 27th. Am I right?
Yeah, should be
it's
rolling up. So we got a couple weeks left, but yeah, getting closer. I think they're going to report on July 23rd. So
yeah,
be interesting.
And guys, please, if you get a chance, check out Real Bucs Talk. My guy Pless and Mark Ramirez, they do an amazing job. They've been doing it for some time now, and quality content. Great follow. Follow them at Real Bucs Talk on Twitter, and make sure if you get out there, if you're on YouTube right now, just jump over to Real Bucs Talk and hit the like and subscribe. And same thing here. If you like what you're hearing, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. It would mean a whole lot to me, and really appreciate that. KB, final thoughts before we roll out of here.
I think I'm going to take the Rachaad White, way of living, when he's in all of his pre-draft interviews, he's got the football holding it high and tight. For the next couple weeks, I'm just going to grab some cash. I'm going to hold it high and tight and just let the sales roll.
There you go, man. That's all you can do, bro. Plus, your thoughts?
Yeah. Man, that's a great motto. I believe in it. And man, yeah, this was just great. It was great talking with you guys. Obviously, getting back and talking football and just talking about life in general and just all the great things that are coming this way for this football team, for us personally. I think a lot of good things on the horizon. So really excited. And obviously with Real Bucs Talk, we're going to get back on the wagon here and get some more content out to you good folks. And a lot of interesting stuff that we have planned, and we hope to just continue to provide good Buccaneers content. If you haven't checked out our interview with Rachaad White, go check that out. It was really, really fun to talk with him. Like I said, great dude. But Gene, Ken, yeah, thank you guys. And it's always awesome. Always happy to come back on here anytime. Anytime you guys need me, I'm in the bullpen. Just call me in.
Yeah, most definitely.
We won't pull you early like race fans.
Definitely want to shout out my guy Zach at Game Changers. Buc What You Heard. You see it. They've got the he's got the skulls too.
That's awesome.
Be sure to check out Game Changers. You see these people with their chains on. So I call my guy up. I was like, hey, can you hook me up? And you see it right here, man. Gold grill and everything, man. It's nice.
You should be the next big nasty and just show up to the Bucs Stadium dressed like a skull right there with the chain.
No, I'm good, man. I think the chain will work, man. So you will definitely see the chain at the games. If you see me at any of the games this year, be sure to jump up and say what's up, man. I'm always willing to talk, and definitely enjoy this season. Again, thank you guys so much for checking us out. Everybody in the chat, thank you guys. Bud Cannibalist, Tempe 1D, Chris Cole, Kevin White, Andy, especially Andy, my guy over there. Hopefully you made it home. Hopefully Lisa lets you in the house if you don't have your key, and you get home safe, bro. But that's it for me. I'm about to get out of here, and you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Wednesday, same time, and hopefully I can get the crew back together again. We talk more football. We are out of here. Peace.